Welcome to the Sustainable Mobility Scenario for the ERA game. The idea for this scenario is to improve the mobility in your city. So cities right now are full of traffic, full of cars, buses, trucks, and so on. So at a certain moment in the day, the city gets completely full of traffic, and sometimes you get hours in the traffic. And this, of course, creates a lot of pollution. Which is a problem for the health of citizens in the city. So we must plan and create better cities with better mobility, and this is the idea for this scenario. So we know that it's not easy to change the strategy for a mobility in a city because this implies high costs. For instance, if you want to do some metro system, it's of course very expensive. This requires a lot of urban planning, but in the end, this has a very positive environmental impact in the city and in the surroundings. So it's great for a sustainable future, but it does come with a lot of challenges. So we know that mobility in the city depends on several factors. For instance, the existence of a good transit network that allows for fluid traffic, a flexible system that is adaptable to peak and off-peak times, a good communication systems to inform of accidents and problems like, for instance, roads closed, accidents of cars, and so on, an extended, reliable, and low-cost public transportation service, and of course safe paths for sustainable transportation for electrical vehicles, for bicycles, and so on. So in the sustainable mobility scenario, what we ask you is to start from a city that has a lot of problems of pollution and traffic, and you have to study that city and come up with a better strategy for mobility inside and outside the city. So the scenario is based on this idea that we are familiar with, that cities experience gigantic traffic gridlocks and corresponding heavy pollution as the result of mobility being ensured mostly by private transportation. And sustainable mobility ensured by green public and private transportation can solve many of these issues. But that implies policies and infrastructures, including roads, buildings, that must be adapted to this new mode of mobility. That means creating bicycle and electric vehicles lanes, parkings away from city center, public green transportation lanes, and so on. So the challenges that you are going to face in this scenario is that the city supplies are almost maxed out, so the budget is limited. There are, of course, multiple solutions. There is more than one solution to this problem. You can create different cities that are green and have a sustainable mobility offer. And of course, you need to work together with your colleagues to solve this scenario. So you can see the relation between the three roles. So the mayor is responsible for ensuring access to public transportation for all. The mobility manager is the person that oversees the necessary changes in the public infrastructure, such as roads and other buildings. And the treasurer is the person responsible for ensuring that the budget allows to create all the new infrastructures. So the mobility manager manages roads and infrastructures. He manages pathways for green vehicles and parking outside the city center. He also manages public transportation channels. He does this by building roads, parkings, paths for electrical or green vehicles or lanes, creating metro, train, and buses running on green fuels. The treasurer manages the city budget and also the budget for public transportation systems. It does this by collecting taxes, by reducing costs, and increasing the city inhabitants so we can get more taxes. And the mayor, of course, is the person responsible for managing the city and to ensure that inhabitants are happy. And he does this by providing good public services, by imposing low taxes to keep people happy, and of course having low pollution levels in the city. Let's see how this scenario is going to be played. So in this scenario, we are going to be provided with a very large city, and this city has some problems in a few places. For instance, there are residential areas that have a lot of traffic in the morning and in the end of the afternoon, and also problems with traffic near big offices and big shopping centers. So you have to study the city and see where these problems appear, and you have to start devising ways to solve these problems. For instance, creating parks outside the city center where people can leave their cars and take public transportation. So we have to study channels where you can put, for instance, a metro system or a train system. You can see where you can put lanes for bicycles and electrical vehicles and so on. So the first part is for you to analyze the city. Also take care about the pollution of the city, because that's also an important issue here, and you must always be careful with the happiness of the citizens. So you have to be careful about the zones of the city that have a lot of pollution. The pollution can be created by industrial facilities, but it can also be created by traffic which flows in excess in a certain moment in the city. And you have to find ways to connect these areas with the residential areas in a way that doesn't require for people to bring their own private cars to the industrial areas. So in short, what you have to do is to keep income coming. So you must keep taxes, so you have money to develop the green mobility system, and reduce pollution, always making your citizens happy. That's another requirement, because if your citizens become unhappy, they might associate that with the green mobility, so they will go back to using their private transportation system. And just some words about the project itself. ERA is a transnational Erasmus Plus project with partners from Portugal, Spain, Denmark, Estonia, and Greece. And we have created this game as a problem-based approach. So you understand the problems and try to solve those problems using the ERA game. We hope you enjoyed. If you want more information about the project, you have here the URL where you can have all the information and data about the project. Enjoy!